Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit, and I am here with Andre Srinivasan, who will be taking us through a little bit of Onlive that is actually launching in the UK as of today.
In fact, launched at midnight. So it's live. We're there.
Yes, indeed. So Onlive is something we've actually discussed quite a lot of on the channel. It's an intriguing product and service, of course. But the question is, does it actually work? Well, we're about to find that out. I'm going to be actually playing Split Second. I'll also be having a look at some of the other games that are currently available here. This is all off the Onlive micro console. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the micro console is?
Sure. So the micro console is a small device, connects to your TV, through an HDMI connection. And it gives you the Onlive service with a 10-foot experience. You have your 50-inch TV. Might as well play all your video games on it.
Yeah, no real doubt about that. Now, the system in question is, for those that don't know, it's cloud-based. And some people are not going to have any idea what cloud-based actually means. So why don't you just quickly explain how it works?
Sure. In a nutshell, when you buy a game for your PC, you install it on your PC, and it's locked to your PC. I mean, you can't, if you're not in front of your PC, you're not playing your game. Cloud-based gaming is all about playing your games wherever you are, on whatever device you happen to have available to you. Basically, the best definition of games on demand. The game is playing in the cloud in hardware that is in our data center, and we figured out how to stream the games to you, assuming you have a minimum of a 3 megabit network connection. And you can play whether you're sitting in front of a PC, sitting in front of a Mac, have our micro console connected to your TV, and we're also going to be launching on pre-installed on Google TVs, as well as on tablets, both Android and iPad.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so the library of games that you currently have available, we're seeing Split Second here, but what kind of games do you actually have? Do you have any of the latest and greatest?
In fact, we do. So we had a day-and-date release of Deus Ex and Space Marines. We're coming out with a whole list of games, including Saints Row. Basically working with publishers to bring games that they are already delivering to PCs and consoles at the same time to Onlive.
Okay. You mentioned Space Marine there, which is interesting because, of course, Space Marine has a multiplayer component. Does the multiplayer actually work with Onlive as well?
Multiplayer indeed works with Onlive as well. We have a number of multiplayer titles on Onlive, ranging from Borderlands to Homefront. If you have your friends and you all are on the service playing, start up a group chat and get in the game together.
Right, and all the saves are basically bound to your account, as it were.
Exactly, yeah, and the saves again are all on the cloud, so you can be playing at home on your TV, and perhaps you get kicked off the TV because the family wants to watch something. So okay, fine, I'll move over to the Mac and pick up where I left off, or maybe you want to go hide in the closet with the Android tablet because you don't want someone knowing that you're playing any games, and so you pick up a tablet, pick up a controller, plug the controller in, and pick up where you left off.
Not that, of course, we would endorse such errant behavior, but there you go. Right, so I've just played a bit of Split Second here, so that I could give my sort of first impressions of that. So what kind of network connection is this currently running? Let's actually just rephrase the question.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play Split Second at this resolution, at this frame rate, what network connection would you require?
About 5 megabits.
About 5 megabits. Okay, and what resolution is that currently running at?
This is a 720p, 60 frames a second.
Okay, right. Now, personal impressions of it. The fact that there's supposed to be a little bit of latency there didn't really feel like a huge amount, if I'm honest. It is there if you're looking for it. But it's not the kind of thing that's going to make you smash into walls because of lag or anything like that. So you don't get to blame that. It's only your own personal incompetence. So what kind of experiences have you had with other genres of games? I have to imagine that Onlive works better in certain kinds of games rather than others. How have you actually tackled the technical challenges of, say, a really fast-paced precision FPS?
In fact, actually, we set a really precise FPS as our target game. So you'll see the Deus Exes and the Homefronts and the Borderlands on the service because we want to deliver that kind of gaming experience to our audience alongside of the World of Goo and puzzle games and so on. But our expectation is that you can snipe in Homefront, with the accuracy that you need on our service.
Awesome. Starting off another little race right here. We'll probably check out an FPS at some point. Bear in mind, I'm currently using the Onlive Controller, and I can give you a little bit of impression of that. It's a nice chunky controller. It feels pretty good, actually. I've got to say that this analog trigger is going to be one of the best analog triggers I've ever used. It's really, really nice.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of it.
Thank you.
Not necessarily a fan of the fact that the D-pad is a little bit too close to the analog stick, but those of you, say, who play fighting games, and Super Street Fighter 4 is available, who use the claw handset, those of you who sort of set yourself up with a little claw, you'll be absolutely fine. Although I did find a few difficulties sort of rolling around that. And I can imagine that at some point you might want to... Are you planning on releasing multiple types of controllers for this system going forward?
Yeah, so going forward, we've already announced a new generation of controllers that we're calling the Universal Controller.
Okay.
The intent of this controller is to provide users, whether they're on a TV, a Blu-ray player, a tablet, or our market console, whatever, all of the platforms that we support, with a single controller that just works, and that provides the gamer with the kind of control that they need. We have been testing a variety of peripherals for compatibility, and we are looking to sort of expand types of devices, steering wheels, game sticks, and so on.
Okay.
That are a little bit more specific to games. But first thing that we want to do is make sure that we have a successful launch and a good experience with our Universal Controller.
Course. Now, when it comes down to peripherals available, I understand there are a couple of third-party things that already work. Why don't you tell us what's going to work through? Let's just say someone picks their micro console up today.
Sure.
And says, right, okay, what have I currently got in my house that's going to work with this thing?
If you have an Xbox compatible gamepad, that will just plug and play, as will a USB mouse and keyboard. They'll just plug in and work. So if you happen to prefer gaming with a mouse and keyboard, and you want that TV experience, plug it into your micro console. It'll just work.
Thank God for that. I have to say, I was playing a bit of Deus Ex Human Revolution on the controller earlier. It felt weird. I'm sorry, I'm a PC gaming purist. What can I say? It's very, very difficult for me. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the UK specific launch, because you had your launch in the US, and obviously the US, quite a large place, and I believe you had a recommendation as to how far you should be away from a data center. What was that?
We actually didn't have a specific recommendation for distance from data center, because we built 3 data centers in the US and covered the US.
Okay, excellent.
So, if prior to our launch in the UK, in fact, we had users who were lucky enough to have a great connection across the Atlantic, actually playing on the service from Europe.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So now that we have our European data center up, we're much closer to our UK audience, which means we can do our launch, and we expect to just keep expanding and bringing the service to more and more markets. Okay,
and if you wanted to crank this up, what is the absolute maximum that you can get out of this service? Do you have a 1080p option?
We don't currently have a 1080p option. It's something that's in our roadmap. We opted to expand the service, for this year, rather than bringing 1080p this year.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we've been getting requests from our user base to bring 1080p, and definitely coming.
I can definitely see Sweden asking for that, considering the ridiculous internet connections they've got over there, things like that. But yeah. That's it. For the users at home, aside from my absolute incompetence at Split Second, which is again that I have to say barely played, but I was in first place, not anymore. But it does seem to work quite nicely. So while we're here, let's have a look at the actual interface options that we've got available. So there's an OnLive button in the middle of the controller, and I assume that's also usable with mouse and keyboard as well. Just there'll be a button actually bound to that. And so it's going to exit the game, and that's going to give us a look at some of the menu options, some of the games available. Now, as regards to device availability, we've seen the micro console. That's going to plug into anything. That's cool. That's got actually 2 USB ports in it, so mouse and keyboard totally accessible. Now, are there any other devices aside from PC that this is currently available in on launch? And the follow-up question, what devices are you looking to support going forward over the next 6 months?
Sure. So as of this moment with the launch in the UK, it's micro console, PC, and Mac. This fall, we are releasing the tablet versions of our playable client. Right now, on the iPad, you can download our Viewer app, which is a spectating-only application. So we're going to upgrade that to the ability to play, and simultaneously release the Android version of the client as well. We have already announced that we're coming to Google TV and Blu-ray players. So look for us as pre-installed apps on TVs and Blu-ray players that you purchase end of 2011, into 2012.
Interesting. Now, you talk about Android, so that could eventually, I suppose, be supported on. I think you were mentioning so what do you guys mentioned? HTC devices.
Well, we have so HTC is one of our partners, and so we're launched a viewer on HTC tablets, and we're working with them simultaneously with our Android launch. So they'll have it available to them, and then we will also make the Android app available to the general Android market.
Okay. At what point do you expect the ability to play this kind of thing on a phone? Phones.
So we're optimized right now for at least a 7-inch device. So,
okay.
Examples of that are the HTC Flyer, for example, is a 7-inch device.
Yep.
10-inch devices are HTC as well as Motorola and Samsung, all have 10-inch devices.
Okay.
Phones are getting into the 4.7-inch screen size, and that's something that we're working on. We know that the 4.7-inch device as just a screen, so connect a controller, say our wireless controller,
okay.
To the phone, is a possibility. But touch gaming, especially action games, touch gaming on such a small screen is a little bit challenging. So we're still kind of working through how to make that experience enjoyable.
Yeah.
And once we do that, then we just deliver to you.
Well, that's good. So it's definitely on the roadmap.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's got to be one of the things that you were perhaps most excited about when you first conceived the service. Like, what about if I could play Space Marine on my phone?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought that you could take some of these PC games and play them on touch with a tablet at all? And the fact that the game is in the cloud gives us the ability to overlay controls on top. The game thinks it's playing on a PC with a gamepad, and in fact, you're touching the screen and playing the game with touch. Yeah.
I've got to imagine that some developers are kind of excited about this because for the longest time, porting to different platforms has been a significant expenditure of development resources. Have developers in general responded positively to this, and how many devs and big publishers do you currently have on board?
So, so the answer is yes. We've had a great response. We have approximately 50 publishers on board. The number is growing. I believe there are going to be some announcements this week about some new partnerships that we have. And I think the best metric that we have is when we launched the service a year and a half ago, we had 19 games on the service. Today we have almost 150 games on the service. We're doing day-and-date releases with titles like Deus Ex. We wouldn't be getting that many titles. We wouldn't be getting the day-and-date releases if we weren't showing the publishers that this is real. This works. The business model for them works. So, I think everybody's just really, really excited about it.
Okay, well, let's talk UK business model then, because people are wondering, well, this sounds like a pretty good idea, but what am I going to have to pay for it? So what are the available models and pricing schemes that people can expect and get a hold of?
The first model or pricing scheme is free to sign up and free to demo games, which is always an exciting proposition.
Okay.
And this isn't a stripped down demo. Demos for us are always the first 30 minutes of the game. So,
all right.
So whatever's there, you get to play. There's a la carte. So we have games that range from $1.99 to $39.99. And obviously, newer games are a little bit more expensive than older games.
Okay.
And then we also have what we call the Play Pack, which currently has 100 games in it. And it's a range of games, everything from Homefront multiplayer to Lara Croft. It's $6.99 a month.
Okay.
And it gives you an opportunity for a fixed monthly fee, play a pretty wide range of games. So you can kind of mix and match. Buy Space Marines and then turn on the subscription so you can play multiplayer Homefront because you don't really care to play the solo player game.
And I can hardly blame you for that, honestly, unless of course you want a game that you finish in about 3 hours.
And then the only other bit of information around pricing is the micro console itself.
Yep.
Which is $69.99.
Okay.
And right now through October 9th, your first game is £1. So you sign up now, get your first game for £1. You really can't lose.
Yep. And that stays on the service the entire time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So that's not a rental model.
Yeah. No. It is like you own it. You come back and play it anytime.
Yep. Pretty much like Steam in that regard. So there you go. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover, because really the proof of the pudding was in the eating for me, and if I'm honest, it's very, very easy to be skeptical about a service like Onlive and the fact that, what happens if there's lag and things like that. And it seems to work. Honestly, it really, really does seem to work probably better than I would have expected it to. There is a very, very slight amount of response latency. Obviously, that's going to be a mileage may vary kind of thing. But I know you guys have had a lot of time to work on this in the States, and as a result, it looks like you've optimized this pretty well, and no doubt you'll be looking to do so going forward. So it's definitely worth having a look at, ladies and gents. There's no real doubt about that. Onlive has now launched in the UK, so give it a shot. You might as well. And as I say, with the 30-minute demos, you can see if it works for you.
First game for £1 as well. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, just can't lose.
Yep. Space Marine works, folks. Don't like playing with a controller, but that's a personal elitist problem of mine. It's really, really nice that you've got mouse and keyboard support on the micro console from launch. And, of course, people might be thinking, well, do you need the micro console to actually run this? You don't, do you?
You don't. No, you can install the client on your Mac or PC.
Yep.
We have very low system requirements. So pretty much if you have a machine that's running and you have a network connection, you can install the client on it and be up and running, playing games almost instantly.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A look at Onlive in the UK, and you can check that out right now over on their website, which is, of course,
onlive.co.uk.
There you go, folks. My name has been Totalbiscuit, and I shall see you next time.